Good morning, boxing fans. It is Sunday morning, a little boxing and bagels here. Got my colleges back going, so I got to get this up before I start preparing for the colleges tonight. They are back in full force, and I will be working a lot delivering tonight. So want to get this up before I get my training in about an hour. Going to be heading over to the gym to continue my training as I head towards that April 27th fight here in Berwick. So last night, Jaime Munguia versus John Ryder kind of went as I predicted. I was off by one round. Munguia showed tremendous ability yesterday, but I'll give it to Ryder. Ryder did show a lot of heart. He just was outclassed. I mean, outgunned really. Munguia punches extremely hard. 4 knockdowns in the final one. Ryder's corner stopped the fight. The referee didn't see the towel coming in, but they actually rang the bell to call a fight. Not a great performance by Ryder, but he hung in there. He was tough. You know, he definitely showed he is a level below that. Munguia, on the other hand, again, I compare him to the Ricardo Mayorgas, a guy who came out and banged away. He was throwing haymakers, and he looked better. I'll tell you what, he looked better than I'd seen him before, but his defense is still a little suspect. That's the one liability he has, and he got hit with a right hook a bunch of times, but I don't know if Ryder was able to hurt him much at all. Munguia was all over him, and then when Munguia knocked him down, he'd be on top of him, and it was hard for Ryder to even get going. And it's kind of how I predicted the fight would go, because I just think that they're setting up Munguia to fight Canelo, and I will tell you why. And this always happens in boxing. If you listen to the announcers and the promoters after, there's obviously something going on, because they were screaming Canelo, bring on Canelo, bring on Canelo, and that was the announcers. I'm sure they're told prior to this to say, that's the fight we want. That's the fight we're building up. Make him look better. Because if you heard the commentary, they did favor Munguia. It is a Golden Boy show, so I got to take that into consideration. But they were definitely leaning heavy towards Munguia to make him look fantastic. And he did look good. He did. I thought he looked very good. But he's not, I don't think he's on the level of Canelo. You look at his record now, 43-0. But still, you got to remember, he started fighting very young, and he fought people just for survival, for food to eat. So they build up those records pretty quickly against people that are less talented, that just go there to get a paycheck. So what they'll do, I'm sure, I'm pretty sure this is what they're going. I mean, if I'm wrong, then I'll come on here and admit it. But I do believe they're going to get Munguia with Canelo in September. I think Canelo will blow him out, and that'll set up 2025 Canelo versus Benavidez. Benavidez, if I'm not mistaken, is going to fight. I just saw it on that David Benavidez is going to fight. So I think it'll be David Benavidez versus Morrell, and then after that, it was provided they both win, everybody wins, all parties win. That sets up next year, 2025, Cinco de Mayo weekend. I would imagine either in the Sphere, which would be massive, or in Dallas. It would be a huge Mexico versus Mexico fight. There hasn't been one of those since Morales, Barrera. You know, you can't say De La Hoya because De La Hoya was American too. You're talking all Mexican fight. This would be this would be massive, and it's a way that Canelo can either prove to everybody that, hey, I'm on a different level than these guys, or it could also say that, you know, maybe he was not fighting him for this reason, that he knew he would lose. But at this point, still, right today, if you told me today, gun to my head, I'm taking Canelo. I just think he's a little bit craftier, a little more tricks in his bag. But that doesn't mean that Benavidez couldn't win. I think David Benavidez would be an underdog a little bit. What other boxing news that was coming out of there last night? What I did see was Ryan Garcia now is back on to fight Haney. This whole thing is so crazy. It gets to be annoying. I think there's just so much. I think what I do think is Ryan Garcia realizes he can't just pick and choose who he wants to fight right now. He's under a management contract with Golden Boy. He has to go by what they say. I mean, he could buy his way out of it. I'm sure Mayweather would buy it, and then they would feed him to the wolves, and he would lose. I think De La Hoya is doing a great job as far as promoting him and moving him right along. So why would he be upset about that? I don't know. Everyone says that they want more money. Everybody does, but I'm going to tell you there has to be some sort of reset in boxing. It doesn't work. The reset has to happen soon because it's not going to work. I mean, you're looking at these contracts or these big fighters getting 20 some $million, 15, 10, $8 million. And there's nothing for the bottom guys, nothing for the middle of the run guys. And then you see these people getting into boxing, the Amazons, the DAZNs. It spells danger for a lot of these people. You even look at a Triller or something like that, a streaming service. Once you have those start happening, ESPN and that's going away. You know, when you have someone like Netflix taking WWE, when you have something like YouTube getting into the NFL with YouTube TV, this is going away. This ESPN multi all person media personalities on the air, that stuff's going away. You're gonna have to do your own. I'm a big proponent of you get paid for the results that you get. I'd love to see it I'd love to see it as if you buy a fight for a certain fighter, you know, there's an app that can divvy the money up a certain way. I'd like to do that. That's hard to do. That would be hard to do because maybe you have, you know, similar how YouTube pays you guys. Okay, you get X amount from this advertiser, this amount for this person, sponsorship gets this, you know, something like that. That's a very attractive business concept. But can it happen? It's hard. It's very hard because, you know, here's the other thing I saw someone saying, you know, they're saying about the Saudis putting on all this money and all PBC should do it, the zone should do it, and they should pay them more. It's hard. At the end of the day, they got to make money. If you have 100,000 buys, that's not much, and it's going to be hard to get 100,000 buys anymore. Forget about the millions. It's hard because of the piracy. So yes, the Saudis are putting up great money, and I think it's great. It's awesome. But I did see that Oscar De La Hoya is doing something similar to what the UFC does in the Apex, where he owns the building, he owns the facility that they're fighting at, and that actually is a good idea. Good idea. You put on regular fights, build somebody up, make them again, make the customer invested in your product, and then sell the product, have it at the T-Mobile Arena for a big event. And that was something that I did see. So will Haney fight Ryan Garcia? I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what Ryan Garcia is doing. He's out of control. It's essentially I like Ryan Garcia as a fighter. I don't know him personally, but I like him as a fighter. I think he's just a level below. Some of these guys are has a huge fan base, great, but it's unprofessional. Just, you know, be professional about how you carry yourself. And yes, you're gonna say, oh, well, he should be making as much money as he should. Of course you should. Of course you should. Let's see what Haney and Ryan Garcia does number wise. Same thing I say with AJ versus Francis. Everybody says that I was critical of the way Francis fought. I thought he looked good, but I didn't know if he would do good against Fury if Fury took it seriously. Let's see the AJ fight. If the AJ fight shows that Francis, and I got news for you guys, I'm leaning more towards Francis as the days go on. I am, because I don't know AJ's mental capacity to take a punch after it happens, his mental stability after he gets hurt. Now, he showed it in the Klitschko fight that he can do it. He showed it in the Ruiz fight that he can get up. The problem is he was hungry. He's not hungry anymore. Yeah, he fought Wallen. Wallen wasn't a great fighter. Wallen can't punch. Francis can punch. Let's see what happens then. Just not as much money as you guys think that's coming down the pipe here for boxing. They got to rebuild their product. They have to. They have to get the fights back in Vegas if they want to hear. And the big fights, maybe if you have to go over to Saudi to get the big money, fine. If they're paying it, fine. But you need fighters here to have boxing thrive here. You know, it's not. That's not even a concept. You know, boxing should be built upon the stars that you have, and Dana White does a great job building stars. Why are we not building these stars? If I was a manager, I'd want my fighter out on every single media platform, on every single social media platform, on podcasts or radio shows, whatever, out there doing stuff for the newspaper. I would do everything to get him out there in front to get people invested in that guy, because then a casual will say, "Oh, you know what? I know that guy. You know what he did? He did X, Y, and Z. Let me buy his fight." Sell the product better. Sell the product better. The product is good. The salespeople suck. That's reality. What it comes down to. I say that a lot. There's a lot of products that I see out there that are very good. The salespeople suck. You know, there's times that, you know, how many times have you bought a product that was bad, but the salesperson was really good? That product's not around anymore. But the ones that sustain are the ones that are good products. It's just the salespeople suck. And if you get the right people to sell the product, you're going to do unbelievable. You will do very well in the boxing game. People pay for fights. It's just easier. Just pay it and don't, I'm going to stream it off of this and they get a chance to get caught. It's not worth it. But most people just won't buy a fight that is not compatible with what the product's giving them. The price got to be comparable to what they're getting. Which is why I'm so upset about that Amazon show. The Amazon show should not be on pay-per-view. It hurts boxing. Someone who is doing a good job on it, ProBox TV on YouTube. You know, not only do they have the product that's good, there are good fights on there. They have shows. They have Paulie, Chris, Teddy Atlas, Tim, George. They're all on there, continuously pushing their product, continuously putting out good product, and they talk about it after. You don't know how many times after shows go off the air that I want to see. You don't want to see these people. How many times do you go on YouTube after a UFC fight or a big boxing match and wait for the press conference? Of course you do, because you're keeping that product fresh and in front of you. They have to do a better job with that, and I think that's the only thing you can do to turn boxing back in 2024. So my prediction here of what's going to happen at the end of this whole thing. Munguia has done his job. Canelo has to do his job and beat Charlo coming in May, which I think he will. Then Munguia fights Canelo in September, right around September, which I think he beats Munguia, sets up David Benavidez. Now, David has to get past Morrell. And if he does, which I believe he will, that sets up the ultimate showdown. Whether you talk about when Bob Arum used to say, we're going to brew it a little bit, let it simmer. This has simmered for a long time, and it's time these two fight. Okay, well, one other thing I wanted to touch on quickly, and it does have to do with combat sports a little bit. I don't know if anybody has seen this whole thing going on with Vince McMahon and the WWE. I implore you guys to look at these text messages that have been released. There is no way Vince McMahon comes back from this. I can't imagine. And their text messages, they're in the documents. I can't imagine anybody coming back from this. Now, I don't know if there's criminal liabilities here, but surely, I have not seen anything like this in decades. This is bad. This is really bad. Vince has got some splaining to do, and so do all these other guys involved. Now, I don't know. Again, this is all, well, it's in the document, so it's not alleged. The text messages there, I read them. So, you know, I don't know if there's anything criminal or not. I'm not even sure, but holy cow. This is not good. Not good at all. It is a very disturbing Disturbing situation. It's weird, very weird. There's multiple people involved in acts that are normally between two consenting adults, which I'm assuming they're. I don't. I mean, the text messages are very vague because they're all involved. They all know what's going on. They're very vague. Well, let me take that back. They're not vague. They're very played out. But there wasn't any. I didn't see the response of the woman involved, and what her response was. And some of them, it didn't seem like she was like, "Yo, cut it out. I ain't involved in this." I don't know, and that's not for me to say or for me to decide. But this is really bad. So if you're watching this, it's all over the internet. If you have something you're interested in, it shows you a side of. It shows you a side of Vince McMahon and someone who has power that is kind of ugly. So, if you want to, go ahead and look at it. The documents are all out there on the internet, but man, it's ugly. Very ugly. A little disturbing too. Vince McMahon's a guy who I've always said was one of the best promoters I've ever seen. Met him once, not personally, but I was sitting front row at an event, and he came up, shook my hand, and gave me his prediction on the main event there, which I think at the time I thought maybe wrestling was still real, but it was definitely a different time then. But this is a very strange story. A lot of weird stuff goes on in sports. Just sports and entertainment, combat sports. It's the weirdest stuff, and when people have power, it gets out of control. And look at what's going on now. Man, it's bad, really bad. But anyway, guys, please, if you can, like and subscribe to the channel. I have about 20 minutes before I get to the gym. I did not work out last night. I didn't. I had stuff to do. I went to an escape room with my wife. We had a good time there with the Davises, and it was a day just to relax. I think I was a little sore for a couple of days, but next couple of weeks I'm going to be extremely busy. Here at the shop, my ex-father-in-law getting a surgery done when he'll be out for a while, and I'm going to have to pick up a little bit of slack. So hopefully we can get that taken care of. And Coach is coming in tomorrow. We're going to try to go live. If we don't go live, it'll be recorded and we'll put it back up. You know, I don't know how he gets on live. Who knows? Anyway, like and subscribe to the channel, please, if you can. Get us over. We're trying to get to that 10,000 mark if you can. Remember, don't be envious of what I've accomplished in my life. Be inspired by what you can do in yours. I will see you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching the Zapata Brand podcast. Please subscribe to the podcast and listen where all podcasts are available.